Oh well. Okay, we are live. What is up, everybody? Happy Monday to you. I hope that you have enjoyed your day. I never plan my live streams. I literally, I'm trying to get better with my channel. And obviously, YouTube is like, well, you can grow your channel by doing live streams. So I'm trying to do better at, doing these live streams, showing who I am, my personality beyond the other videos that I do. I've been thinking, and I do that a lot. I do that a lot about the way that how Kamala Harris is alternatively being sold. Right now, her black card is being declined. Okay, Kamala Harris's black card has been declined. And I'll post my other video kind of going more in depthly about some of that. But I've had people ask me, why does it matter that she's not black? And why does it matter, if she's mixed race? And they're totally trying to skew this conversation now because the Democrats have failed at playing the race card. And now everybody's kind of calling them out on how they try to deceive Black Americans with some of these ambiguous candidates, and they placate these people as Black, right? Greens, hot sauce, right? They really try to dive into the Black culture with some of these people. I don't believe Hillary Clinton carried hot sauce in her bag, and she didn't believe that, right? She needed to make sure that it was going to work for Black people. These people take aspects of Black culture, and they try to use that as a badge of credibility, right? And what the Democrats do, and like I said, they have a whole hub of Black face, Black looking race hustler type people, right? Because they're pooling their talent from Harvard and HBCUs, which are consequently predominantly funded by non-Black people. And that is just to say that I don't think that Kamala Harris's race matters at all. I think that people can't help the way that they're born, but people can help the way that they appropriate themselves. And, to me, I think that, the bigger conversation with all this placating, Kamala Harris placating to Black people and Blackifying herself like some weirdo Drake, is the fact that she has been raised dominantly by her Indian mother and Indian culture. And instead of, just wearing that as the foundation of who she is, she, to me, decided to kind of go off and just appropriate herself a totally different way. And I don't even know if Kamala Harris wanted to do that. When you are a Democrat puppet, you have to just play ball. I mean, she is getting paid, right? If you look at Kamala Harris's net worth before she was on the Biden ticket, and probably now, they probably paying her to go through a lot of this charade, right? But another side of Kamala Harris, the Kamala Harris card, and YouTube is probably going to suppress this live stream because I wanted to talk about Tara Reade. And the reason I want to talk about Tara Reade is because Kamala Harris is going so hard on protecting women and protecting women's rights. And my whole thing is the one thing that when Kamala Harris got on the Biden ticket that I thought was very problematic was the fact that she was very outward about Biden and some of those women that had accused him of sexual harassment. And she even went as far as to say that she believes some of them. And one of them was Tara Reade. So I want to just play this clip really quickly. And this was an interview that Tara Reade did about 3 years ago on 60 Minutes. And she was talking about the demonizing that she actually went through coming forward as an individual who had been allegedly assaulted by Joe Biden, while he was as a senator. So she's talking about this backlash.
been pretty attacked and smeared. And some of his campaign
This is
supporters
Tara
and
Reid
surrogates have
on
been the ones
60
doing the
Minutes.
attacks. Kamala Harris is now Joe Biden's running mate after saying that she believed some of Joe Biden's accusers. Right. How does that sit with you? You know, what I am really questioning
And this is just fair usage. I'm making a point.
When I was trying to come forward with my full history with Joe Biden, there were many really qualified Democrats running for president, including Kamala Harris. Why isn't she president and the presidential candidate? Why does she have to be VP? And what does that say about our culture that we have to go sideways into getting a woman president, right? But do you think there is an element of hypocrisy?
Let me stop there, because Tara Reid made a great point, and I've been making this point, that Kamala Harris could not run on president just being Kamala Harris and by herself. That's why she was a failure. And I was actually looking at a podcast that I did 3 years ago, and I was talking about the fact that Black Americans did not support a Kamala Harris presidential run. Even 3 years ago, we did not support her being president because she had to drop out of the race. It wasn't until she became Joe Biden's VP pick that now all of a sudden you got this illusion of Black Americans just being so in awe with Kamala Harris. I think that's the whole thing. Is I feel like the whole support around some of these candidates is, it's like the music industry, right? The music industry will make you believe that an artist is hotter than they really are. They will have them bumped up in the algorithms and social media. They got all these bots and payola to make it seem like an artist is much hotter than they really are. It's not until you get to the pure cells of the artist's art that you really do get a chance to see how organically good this artist may or may not be. And a lot of times when you see an artist that's supposed to be so hot and they have very, very low pure sales, people are scratching their heads. But really, that artist has been artificially promoted. This has been artificially propped to appear, to be bigger than what they are. And I think that's really what happened with Kamala Harris, is she could not do it by herself. So she had to go behind Joe Biden, who consequently had to go behind Obama to even be considered as a presidential nominee. And that's why I said this whole time that Kamala Harris was going to be the card that the Democrats could play, because they really couldn't sell all that white guy this, white American dudes, like, and then just try to prop another white guy. They needed to use one of their struggle groups that was just enough ambiguous to represent a couple of groups, right? Because she's representing, the Indian Americans and stuff, and whatever other half that she got going on heritage wise, but also they can disguise her as Black. And so therefore she covers the Black looking struggle group too in America. And that is the Kamala Harris card. She's the woman. She's the ambiguous race person who can sort of placate into Black culture, but at the same time, have that other cultural appeal. And again, if I were Indian Americans, I'd be pissed. I wouldn't even want to vote for her. I'd be like, bro, you just forgot all about us playing Black, right? Because we didn't grow up eating collard greens, you know? Black people, we don't have cornbread. We have nan bread. All right. She just completely neglected, in my opinion, her whole Indian heritage aspect this time around. Right. When she ran for senator, it was all about her Indian heritage, right? Indian heritage. That is what they sold Kamala Harris on, right? Her Indian's heritage, right? Now it's about the Black heritage, right? And I gotta believe that the Indian people in her family are like, Kamala, collard greens, really? Hot sauce? Like, when did you become so Black? If I were her family members, but I'm pretty sure all of them know they got to be on code. Like, look, guys, I'm gonna be the Democratic nominee, and I'm not less Indian, but I have to be less Indian in public. Okay? So I'm not Kamala, I'm Kamala. Okay? And when you guys call my name in public now, do not call me Kamala, call me Kamala. Kamala. This woman is a chameleon. She's a chameleon. And the fact that what really irks me about this chameleon is that she's not just a race chameleon, right? She's a I'm on women's team chameleon, right? Because she told when she was running against Joe Biden, she said she believed the women who had accused him of sexual assault. And in the same breath, same tone, not even months later, right? This woman is running alongside somebody that she believed was a sexual predator to women, that she claimed that she believed. Like, how does that work? Like, how do you make an executive decision to stand by somebody that you believe was a sexual predator of women? And that's what Kamala Harris said about Joe Biden. She alluded to it in so many different ways. And I just don't understand how she stood by that man as his VP. I don't care what position. Hey, Angela, I don't care what position somebody is propping me. If they say, like, let's just say Epstein was not murdered, because everybody know he didn't kill himself. But let's just say that Epstein wasn't 86, right? And somehow they propped a Jeffrey Epstein up, right? Knowing the reputation that Jeffrey Epstein had, right? And they said, you're going to have this awesome position, right? You're going to be this VP of, this big, and it's a big position, big global position, right? Big deal. I just got to stand alongside this guy that I know is a creep, right? What type of dignity would that say that I have about myself if I did that, right? And see, this is where Kamala Harris is really just not the best nominee for the Democrats, because she can get cooked way too many different ways. Okay, have fun, baby.
My bad, I didn't want to interrupt.
No, you're good. Have fun. 19-year-olds, they never want to be in the house these days. I mean, God, I swear my kids are allergic to being in the house these days. They cannot chill. They got to be out in the block. I'm like, girl, you just got back. And it's like, where are you going now? It's like they always just busy doing nothing. Busy doing nothing. But I just find that there are way too many ways to cook Kamala Harris. I mean, because we're talking about the race thing now, but wait until this Tara Reid thing come back up again. And Kamala Harris right now got the female vote on lock. It seems she's very tight with Trump when it comes to women. She's actually beating Trump when it comes to women. And my whole thing is, how you really team woman when you standing next to a man that you literally, said that you believe women, that he sexually assaulted women? How do you do that? What woman does that? Like, if you're an ambitious woman, if you are an ambitious woman, would you stand next to a man like Joe Biden if you have said it, you have alluded it, you have even gone on interviews and said that you believe these women? Would you stand next to this man because he said, you can be my VP? Like, the moment that Joe Biden was selecting his VP and she was even on the radar, I'm like, I know she's going to decline. Like, to be honest with you, I thought that Kamala Harris was going to decline being Joe Biden's VP because she believed that he had that history of sexually assaulting women. I really did think that. Right? Because it's like, how do you stand by a man? Like, you cannot let your words eat you this much. Yeah, Democrats are real good at playing the victimized sexual harassment card. They weaponize sexual harassment against political opponents and different people that they want to take out. Yet your candidate Your candidate is an accused man. He's an accused man. And he has a track record of other creepy things. Like, and they literally, and Kamala Harris called it out. And yet she stood by him. So I don't really have a lot of faith in Kamala Harris's loyalty towards anything. I really don't think that she has a lot of loyalty towards anything but herself and her ambitions, and she will play whatever chameleon role that she needs to get the job done. I'm sorry, I just do not hate Donald Trump enough to fall for a chameleon like this. And the one thing I will say about Trump this whole damn time from 2016 on now is he has been himself. He has been the same Donald Trump. And I give a lot of points to people who are real. If you can keep it real with people, no matter what you are about, like you can like his character, you can not like his character, you can take, there's aspects about anybody's character that we may not like, but to literally use his character, which has been very, very consistent as a reason not to vote for him and vote for some chameleon who has been inconsistent and a puppet the entire way. Like, my thing is, Democrats aren't even picking good puppets these days. They're not, for them, the liberal arts, right? They have not done a good job picking good puppets these days. All of their puppets are obvious failures to me. To me. They're obvious failures, right? They don't play the role very well. They don't play the card very well at all. And Kamala Harris was not a good card for the Democrats to pull because there's so many ways to sizzle that card. Like, you're going to lose the Black demographic just based off of her race charades and the way that they have propped her, elevated her, cosplayed her as a Black person when she clearly is not a foundational Black American. And honestly, the reason why Kamala Harris has zero, thoughts about reparations is because she don't qualify for them. Reparations have nothing to do with Kamala Harris because that's not her lineage. So for all the little buck dancing Black people who's like, it doesn't matter, she's on our team and blah, 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 blah. Kamala Harris has zero interest in Black people having reparations, not because of the economic, implications of reparations, but because she's not from the ancestry to have to care. This is why you have these Black looking chameleons, right? And this is why delineation is important. Delineation of Black looking people, just like white looking people in America right now, it's more important than ever. It's more important than ever because there are so many Black looking people who will disguise themselves as being for Black people, and they're not on our team, and they're not even down for our causes, right? Because it doesn't apply. Reparation does not apply when you think about it to non-Black people who look like Black people. So that's why they can take all these Black looking people and cosplay them and talk about why, reparations, X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 right? Because these people aren't really invested in reparations. They just look like people who are invested in reparations. That's why when people are like, oh, Kamala Harris isn't really saying anything about reparations, and she's not. She's not. She's never. First of all, reparations is something that Democrats know they can dangle in front of gullible Black people who just want them, desire them, and feel like, we're going to get them. They dangle those, right? So that they can make political decisions, right? Kamala Harris does not qualify to receive them. So therefore, she has zero interest in advocating for them in any way. In any way. So Black people need to really stop thinking that Kamala Harris, if she is elected president, is going to get reparations for Black people. If you believe that, if she is dangling any type of propaganda like that to you, Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. And let's just keep it a buck economically, $35 trillion in debt, and they are insistent upon funding wars overseas. Black people, our reparations have already been bought and spent in Israel and Ukraine, right? We need to dial back the overseas spending, get the spending at home together before we start doing any type of entitlements anymore. We really do. I mean, and that's just keeping it 100 real. But she's not going to say that to you. Kamala Harris is not prop to tell you that we're $35 trillion in debt. She's prop to tongue twist about reparations instead of being straightforward about, and if she's elected, she's going to be real with black people like it's not going to happen. Right now she got a tongue twist. She has to tongue twist to black people about reparations right now. Like, so when somebody asks her a question, well, just, black people. And then she recaps all the things that everybody knows. And then she goes, it's on our mind. She's worse than Circle Back Jen Psaki, right? Some of these people, at least Circle Back Jen Psaki had an answer that we could really accept, right? She's going to circle back, even though she's not going to circle back to us, right? At least we felt like she was going to circle back to us. These people don't have any like really good responses. It's like just tongue twist. And to be honest with you, let's talk about intelligence for a second, because people are always propping, oh, she went to this school, she went there. You can spend 8 years at a college university listening to some professor tell you how to think, achieve a depreciating piece of paper called a degree, right? And you can still be dumber than a sack of diapers. Because if you really lack core reasoning skills and being able to look at patterns of logic and take patterns of information and actually apply logic and knowledge, right? I don't care how many degrees you have, you are not a person that has higher consciousness and intelligence, right? And it has nothing to do with your race or anything like that. It just has something to do with you. So, for example, Ketanji Brown Jackson, the Biden Supreme Court nominee, right? As a black woman, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. That was not intelligence when they were asking her about the woman. What is a woman? What is a woman? Right? And with what I expect for even a political party shill to be able to provide is an intelligent answer, even if they have to kind of go around, right? She could not do that. And this is a person who is a mother who could not do that. And so I don't care what school you hail from, if you cannot intelligently say what is a woman and you are trying to be a Supreme Court justice, you are completely off my radar. Because even if you didn't want to give the scientific definition, right, you could push back and say, well, right now there is the scientific definition of a woman, right? But then there is the social definition of a woman. And these two are conflicting. And as the Supreme Court justice, you have to now use this, your higher judiciary thought process to figure out which definition reigns. The social definition of a woman, which can change all the time, or the actual scientific definition of a woman who has been tried and true and has never changed over time, right? She could not do that. I should be a Supreme Court justice, right? Because I think like that, right? The markets crashed these past few due to Biden Kamala economics. Oh, yeah. And see, Kamala Harris is stupid as hell. She's stupid as hell because the Democrats are actually, she is their fall guy. I was thinking about this Kamala Harris card for a while because I'm like, she's not the sharpest tool in the shed. She never even presented herself as, she's not Robin Givens, okay? When you want to talk about a smart black woman, even if she's kind of bitchy, Robin Givens is actually a smart black woman. Okay. Omarosa, say whatever you want to say about Omarosa, whatever. That's not a dumb black woman. These women can talk, they can articulate. Kamala Harris cannot. That is not a smart, intelligent woman at all. And I'm a person who values a person who runs on a higher Supreme Court justice of mindset. And I'm not saying this because of anything, because some people like to placate to the ignorant ideas about black people. I don't do that. So I'm not even saying this about anything dealing to do with her race, her gender, or anything. When I look at Kamala Harris, I do not see a smart person. I don't see somebody with a higher Supreme Court of reasoning. And people need to get off these popularity contest things and start demanding that of our leaders, right? These people are talking like children to you. They think that you're children. All the while, they are politicking to you, and the policies that they're trying to put in place are going to screw you and your children over forever. Okay? People don't really understand or process the bigger picture of things. But when I look at somebody like Kamala Harris, somebody asks her about inflation. There's like, inflation's very high. I forgot, the gist, like the overall question, but they were asking her about inflation. This person, Kamala Harris, literally recapped what inflation was, how it impacted American families, as if we didn't know all that. Thank you, Robin. It was like, listening to, Robin narrate what the hell Batman was doing. Oh shit, Batman's climbing that building. It's like, thanks, Robin. We see that with our own eyes if we're not Stephen Wonder, right? But here's Kamala Harris. Oh, inflation, it's impacting a lot of family, and the cost of living is going up, and she didn't tell you about the inflationary factors, like the factors that actually cause the inflation. She can go into that. I'm not sure if she is conscious of those things or if the establishment is telling her, hey, stay away from talking about any causes of inflation because really it falls on us and we're trying to get you in, girl. So don't go there. Kind of fluff around what inflation is and say it's on our mind. And that's exactly what she did. She talked about what inflation was and said that it was on our mind, right? Inflation is caused when you are printing more money and you don't have the same production level, right? When you are spending money with low valuation, and there's different ways you can valuate your currency, right? The Biden Harris ticket came in furthering suppression of the US economy, right? They stopped oil production, right? Then they tried to bribe Russia into not going into Ukraine, right? So Russia was, providing our oil until they decided to say, screw you, I'm going into Ukraine anyways, because I told y'all asses to stay out of our backyard with your little alliance that you don't want us in there, but you keep trying to creep into our backyard. So, nope, not going to work this time. And so the US ended up getting punked by Russia because really we stopped our drilling. I mean, and I think they said that there's still fracking going on. Like it wasn't like a complete, I think it was the federal leases they stopped, but I think there was still some oil production and fracking going on in the United States, but we definitely slowed down in production. But Bidenomics created inflation, right? Anytime you are not producing, your nation is not producing, and you're sending more money and you're printing, and people are like, oh, we can print money to say how we're going to get our reparations. It's like, honey, it doesn't work like that. This is why so many other nations right now are pulling away from the US dollar. I mean, imagine you're like looking at this nation like, man, these guys are pretty rich. It's like, damn, it's like they're printing money from thin air. And then you realize, God damn it, they really are printing money from thin air. What do? There's a lot. I mean, people aren't really thinking about just the bigger picture to your candidate selection here, right? We need to get a handle on the US economy, right? And that starts with we cannot continue to spend money that we don't have. Like, really, we should have been in a recession, and a recession should have been called, you know, at least 2021, right? That, I mean, I think that would have just gotten everybody, all the people, in the right mindset that they were going to have to like hunker down or whatever. But no, I mean, it was just, I just feel like it's really messed up what they're doing to people right now. It's really messed up. And I think you have to be running on a higher consciousness. And you have to understand how the economic systems work and how all these systems work to really understand that we are being so screwed in this nation. They are lying to us, just bold face lying. They going all of them. I hope they just go to hell with gasoline on their drawers, for real, because what they are doing to the legacies of America is horrible. And hopefully Trump is the guy that he say he is, and that he's going to come in and he's going to kind of bring level things for Americans. I mean, I think that's what people are really hoping from Donald Trump, is that he can come in and really level things out, like really undo what has been done for decades. And that is a talk. Like, first of all, Trump is not going to save America, right? The only thing Trump can really do is in the next 4 years try to really get a hold of the spending, right? Try to the extent that he can mitigate the US involvement in these foreign affairs, you know, get our money from some of these people we have been protecting. So called, we gotta get a collection guy out in the world right now and get America's money. Okay. Because I know there's a lot of like $32 trillion in debt. I know there's some nations that owe us money, right? So we do need to get all of our money, right? So whoever gets elected president, the first thing he should say is, I'm so happy to be here, to my friends and family and fellow citizens abroad. We're going to try to turn this around to my comrades and our partners, abroad. We're here. We're going to support you, but we want our damn money. Any of you who have not paid up to the United States, we want our damn money. We need to get our deficit down, and you have not paid. And we need to get like Stewie from that episode of Family Guy when Brian owed him some money. Like, where my money? Where my money? We need to start shaking up all the people that owe us money. Like, for real. Because we got debts, we got bills to pay. All right. It's time to start. It's a shake up. So if the next president isn't coming in and talk about that, like we shaking up all the people that owe us money, we're gonna do everything we can to bring this debt down. Right? If the next president isn't talking that, I can't even see. I don't know what you're talking about. You're just doing nothing but destroying the rest of my future legacies. That's what you're doing. I don't trust you, for real. Like, yeah, I'm telling you, Ukraine needs to, like, Zelensky coming up in here with his funny looking self talking about he needs more money and we need. It's like, if you don't shut your ass up and make peace with Russia and get the hell on, you gonna, like, first of all, Ukraine is a threat to Europe. If I were the European Union, I would want nothing to do with Ukraine. I don't know if Europe is running on some slowness or what, but I would have never let America punk me into even supporting Ukraine with them. And this is that whole NATO thing. Like, I'm sure it sucks to be a NATO nation because it's like, y'all got us in this bullshit. But guess what happened if they just start busting like that, right? I'm thinking Poland, Belarus. Like, man, Russia can rearrange some shit on the globe if they just really wanted to. And trust and believe, they don't have to really target America. They can just target some of those smaller NATO countries who just want to just be down for the ride. Like, we need to stop playing with Russia. Like, we really just need to stop playing with Russia. Like, all the way around. We need to stop playing for Russia and just, just let Ukraine take the L. Just take the L. Because ain't nobody standing with Ukraine. Remember when this whole thing started, all the propaganda stand with Ukraine? What happened to that? Y'all literally stood and sit y'all asses down like real quick on these movements. Like for real. Like all I saw was like my social media just like for weeks. And then support Ukraine, Ukraine, all the little banners and stuff, just like Black Lives Matter. And then it was just like a little face. They're like, nobody's really catching on to this. No, nobody's really standing with Ukraine. You're damn right. You're damn right. Why would Americans want to sit up there and do that dumb shit? Ukraine stand for Ukraine. Ain't got nothing to do with us. One of the most corrupt nations in this world, and you asking Americans to support y'all sending our tax dollars to them so that Democrats could possibly money launder and wash money for their little Marxist campaigns. It's like, get out of here with that. Right? No, it's free Palestine. Listen, I don't even want to get into that whole Palestine stuff. I really try to keep my content off of that because, first of all, YouTube, they censor a lot of content around that particular topic. And now they got audio censorship, so the minute they hear you talking about something, like I was just talking about something a couple of minutes ago, I think it had something to do with the manipulations or whatnot, and they literally, I lost internet connection for a while. That's what they do. You got a lot of feds on here. Like most of the times when I get a whole bunch of likes or something like out of nowhere, I'm like, thank you, FBI. Thank you, feds, for liking my stuff, because I know some of y'all got to work in these crappy organizations, you know, as stormtroopers, you know, and you just got to go along to get along. I get it. Some of those people are just going along to get along. And that's how a lot of people are going to be destroyed if you're a so-called Christian. They going along to get along, right? And it's going to hurt them. But getting back to just summarize my point, Chameleon Kamala Harris has more than race to contend with, because as she continues to promote herself as a femme fatale face for women, it's time for this a woman. Let's remind y'all that she's standing next to Joe Biden, who she believes sexually assaulted women. She even said she believed these women. And then not even months later, she is standing by the same man that she believes assaults women. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. And they even had, when Kamala Harris was running against Joe Biden, I remember there was an interview where she was talking about, she was asked about, her opinions about these women who have come forward and had talked about, Joe Biden possibly sexually assaulting them when he was a senator. And she said, I believe them. I mean, there's an interview, and they're scrubbing the internet so much these days. You can't find a lot of stuff on the internet these days because obviously they can't let you have receipts anymore because a lot of their narratives are backfiring against them. So they are scrubbing the internet big time. Like, how many of y'all noticed that? Like, hit the like button if you feel like they have scrubbed the internet and that we don't have the same information on the internet that was available to us even 5-10 years ago, because they're constantly scrubbing it because a lot of the lies are being manifested, right? My granny used to say, it might be even a Bible verse too, like what happens in the dark will eventually come into the light, right? I mean, I think a lot of stuff that, people have been distracted from, suppressed from, really kind of manipulated and propagandized, from thinking about, it's kind of coming out. And so they have to kind of cover that up with, you know, scrubbing the internet so people can't pull the same receipts that they used to because they're not there. I was actually looking for that Tara Reid Kamala Harris, that interview where Kamala Harris was asked about Tara Reid. I could not find it. I could not. The only thing that I could find of Tara Reid even remotely talking about Kamala Harris was that 60-minute interview that they did right after Joe Biden had picked Kamala Harris as the running mate, and she was asked about how she felt about Kamala Harris.
How does that sit with you? You know, what I am really questioning is on the Democratic, when I was trying to come forward with my full
And this
history
is
with
fair
Joe Biden,
usage.
there were many really qualified Democrats running for president, including Kamala Harris. Why isn't she president and the presidential candidate? Why does she have to be VP? And what does that say about our culture that we have to go sideways into getting a woman president, right? But do you think there is an element of hypocrisy for her to have said that and to now be his running mate? Yeah, I think there's hypocrisy all around. I think it's a nonpartisan issue, along with sexual assault and sexual, harassment. And what I think, though, is one of the things that struck me was recently she said, "I know a predator when I see one," and that upset me a great deal. Watching that, because it's again like being erased. What do you say to people who say they don't believe you? That's okay. You don't have to.
So this is Tara Reid talking about just kind of what she went through after she was one of those women who came forward about Joe Biden sexually being sexually harassing. And again, there was an interview of Kamala Harris right after all of that stuff came out, and she was talking about how she believed these women, right? Because she was running against him. Can't find it anywhere. Can't find it anywhere. So respect Israel and Palestine are like two gangs fighting it out. Yeah, it gives off gang banging itch a little bit. Um, yeah, I mean, gang banging is about territory wars too. So I guess it all is relative. I don't, with I have my own opinions about that. And again, I offer social, political, and spiritual perspectives because I do believe that a lot of this stuff plays into Bible prophecies. And check my other live streams and videos if you kind of want to get the spiritual perspective as well. But I do believe that there's nothing biblical about what's happening in that region today. These are mockeries of the scriptures, and to me, it's just kind of playing out the way it plays out. And if you ask me, the God of Abraham is not with any of these satanic nations, and that's why they're all going to be judged. But that's just me. But anyways, let me know what y'all think. But I feel like instead of talking about Kamala Harris and this Willie Brown thing, Laura Loomer is on her husband cheating on somebody. I'm like, these conservatives, I swear, they will just do, some of them, I swear, it's just shut them down. Either they are controlled opposition or they're just the dumb ones of the conservatives, and we really just need them, just put a plug on these people, right? Because I don't care that Doug Emhoff, Kamala Harris's husband, I don't care if he cheated on his first wife. I don't care. I do not care that Doug Emhoff, Kamala Harris's husband, cheated on his first wife with the daughter's teacher. I don't care about that. That's scandal. I don't care about that, right? Now, if Doug Emhoff cheated on Kamala, so-called Black Harris, now that's real tea. That's real tea for me, because there is nowhere in hell that a wealthy white man is going to marry a black woman, a black looking woman, and be out here in these streets cheating on her. It's just not happening. I'm not saying that white wealthy men don't cheat on their black wives, but it's actually pretty rare. That's just not really a common thing, right? Because obviously, white men don't have black wives for tokenization or anything like that. They have them typically because they truly love the woman. So I just don't Like I would be more into the tea of him cheating on Kamala than him cheating on his first wife, because then if he cheated on Kamala, I really know she wasn't black then. Like I'm like, shit, girl, your whole wealthy white man cheating on you. You ain't black American. You ain't got the juice. You don't have the juice, girl. You just don't. Right? Because he going other places. He's going other places. That's me talking to my girlfriends. Like, girl, if he did cheat on her, she ain't black. She's not black. But anyways, the ladies know what I'm talking about with that. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out and chatting with me about this. I see a lot of some of the ladies, they agree with me that, I could not stand next to a guy who had a bunch of women accusing him of sexual harassment. And like I said, with all of that and the way that Kamala Harris talked about Joe Biden in that regard so much, I literally thought she was going to decline. I thought she was going to decline his invitation to be his VP because of those allegations. And because she was going hard focusing on those allegations, I'm like, there's no way that he's picking her as his VP. And sure enough, he picked her as his VP, and she was like, oh, Joe, oh, Joe. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? You just borderline call this dude like a rapist, and now you're geeking over being his VP. Crazy town. Just crazy town. Let me know what y'all think. But I don't know. I'm thinking like I don't care about Willie Brown. I don't care about Doug Emhoff and who he slept with and got pregnant. I'm thinking like Tara Reid and her fake women empowerment. Like she needs to be me too'd on that. Like Kamala Harris needs to be me too'd on her contradiction and her hypocrisy. Like she really should. She should be me too'd on that contradiction and that hypocrisy, because she went hard on Joe Biden being an assaulter of women when she was running against him, and then geeked over being his VP after all of that. If that ain't contradiction, I don't know what. I mean, people don't have any dignity. This is how you know we got a bunch of snakes and a bunch of slimy, disgusting people in Washington. These people have no scruples. They have no scruples, including Chameleon Kamala. And I'm going to say it again. I don't care what people think about Trump. At least he has been himself this whole damn time. He has not been a chameleon. He has been Donald Trump the whole damn time. Consistently, good or bad, he has been Donald Trump the whole damn time. I have not seen Donald Trump code switching. I've seen him pandering, right? But they all pander, right? But I haven't seen Donald Trump out there just code switching. And I mean, I guess how can a white guy code switch? But Jay can, because look at what Jay tried to do with what's her VP shortlist guy, the guy that let the woman get stabbed to death, and the guy got away. What's the guy? Josh. What's her shortlist? Josh Shapiro, right? Did you guys see the picture, like the courtroom diagram of that woman, that Greenberg, I think it was her last name, where they're saying that Josh Shapiro was kind of covered over that. I don't know. Her family is accusing him of that. That was terrible. That was a rage killing. I don't see how anybody would have. And they said it was a suicide. How the hell do you? I don't understand how anybody kills themselves in that manner, and they confidently rule that as a suicide, right? And the guy is walking, the fiance is still living his best life, thanks to his friend Shapiro. And that's another thing. Like Kamala Harris, she better not pick Josh Shapiro. They're gonna get eaten up alive together if they are a ticket. They really will be. They really would be. And at that point, I mean, I think people will probably come to terms with the fact that American politics is dead. It is. But anyways, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye. See you, Angela. Thank you. Is it Liran? Is it Liran? Hopefully I didn't chop that up, but thank you for tuning in. Bye.